And so, with the dust partially settling on the greatest and biggest bike show on earth, we've had time to ponder.
Yeah, we've listened to your feedback, so don't fret, but it's also we've been keeping an eye on what you guys have been up to.
Wow, what a crazy couple of weeks. Lots of new product. The Pinion MGU motor gearbox unit gained considerable attention out at the Eurobike show, along with Bosch's new lightweight SX motor. Now, Eurobike is renowned for throwing up some new products, but I have to say, Pinion delivering the first ever mass-produced motor gearbox unit is quite a moment in time. Now, we've had time to ponder, along with being massively excited about riding this motor gearbox on the hill at some point in the future. However, at the same time, we've been thinking, where does it actually sit at this moment in time?
I think there's a few things you've got to consider with that, Steve. Is like there's the obvious that people are really jumping on board with this is, it's fairly compact. It's, maintenance free or little to no maintenance, whether it's a belt or a chain driven one, that's dependent on the conditions. For some people in the muddy slop and sort of really horrible conditions.
I know.
It's a big bonus, but that's not only it, it's relatively quiet. It's got a great range of battery sizes. You've got, you remove a huge part of a vulnerable point on the bike, the derailleur, along with its semi-automatic shifting. So I think there's a huge amount of really key benefits that we can see straight off the bat.
So many positives, the first mass-produced MGU. But we've also been listening to what you guys have been saying to us, as well as what the mountain bike industry has been saying as a whole.
There's heaps of stuff, right?
There is. So these are 5 takeaways which me and Adam have thought about. First of all is many people have been commenting on the little bit of a clunk when shifting. But Adam, what derailleur doesn't clunk? Most of mine do, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's you, Steve.
That is.
It's a mechanical system.
It is. The second one is the chain needs a thing to keep it in tension.
What do you mean by thing?
A thing, we saw on the Rotwheel bike, there was a thing, like a tensioner on the rear axle. It's always going to need that, right?
Yeah, regardless of chain or belt.
And at the same time, the belt needs a thing as well underneath the motor. Thirdly, do we need all the gears? I'm not so sure we do. I think, it comes as a 9 or 12, which, I can appreciate that's going to be great for, urban use or certain types of mountain use, but I reckon the future could be all about less gears on e-bikes. Just putting it out there, folks, just putting it out there. Nobody's talking about reliability. As I said, we cannot wait to get this bike, maybe it's a simple or a Rotwheel, whatever bike with the Pinion motor up into the mountains to see how it copes with really dirty, horrible terrain, stream crossings, you name it.
And to stop you there, I think part of that is it's a long-term test. You never know how it's going to perform until it's been out there for a certain amount of time, right?
You say that, but I'm pretty sure these guys are very experienced they'll have been doing thousands of hours testing with their unit. What I'm saying is, I'd like to put it where we go to, stream crossings where sometimes it's submerged, because we're now talking about not just the reliability of a motor, but also the gearbox as well. But those are all bits and pieces. I think one takeaway which I'd like to get across is this bike, this motor, is going to handle very differently to other EMTBs on the market, simply because you've now got 4 kilos around the bottom bracket as opposed to maybe kind of 2.3 or the lightweight motors of 1.8. So
are we conditioned to being used to the derailleur system? I think is part of it as well.
Yeah, I think what me and Adam were talking about is we're not anti-derailleur and we're not anti-MGU, are we?
We're just the EMTB guys, right?
Exactly. We want to have a good time in bikes in the mountain. It kind of feels like the mountain bike industry and mountain bike media over the past 6 months have been going lightweight bikes. And then all of a sudden, the last week, it's been gearbox bikes. So unfortunately, folks, you cannot have both, because lightweight bikes weigh around 15 kilos and MGU bikes kind of around about 25, 26 kilos of the ones we've seen at the moment. Add to that the fact that our chat last week with Bosch out in Germany, where we saw the new SX motor. It's quite interesting, Adam, to see the Klaus Fleischer puts the new SX mode in between light assist and full power bikes, right?
He did draw a line in the sand, didn't he? Literally. But yeah, I think that opens an interesting thing. I think we can talk about e-mountain bikes in 3 categories now: lightweight, mid-weight, and full power, essentially. So, with regards to like a mid-weight bike, you're talking, the new Boss SX motor is a perfect example of this. A 15 plus kilo bike. Now, say that the difference between that and a Pinion bike at this point is
10 kilos.
10 kilos. What's that? Car tyre, 24 cans of Coke.
French Bulldog.
Yeah, depends how heavy it is, but how big it is. But
it is.
That's even adding to the mix.
But then at the same time, guys, you look at full power EMTBs. You can get full powers now around about 20 kilos. We saw the Stork bike with the FZ motor. We saw. I mean, let's face it. The Specialized Levo was actually 20 kilos 5 years ago. We've seen the new Giant Trans E Advanced that's sub 20 kilos with the ability to change the torque of the bike. So there's lots of options there. But the main thing is actually, what do you guys want out of an EMTB? Let's know your thoughts down below.
So reeling things back in, let's get to the all-important news. There's been a lot of new stuff, but there's some cool new and maybe a little bit more underground things that have been on the radar this week. So, Gary Fisher back on the scene.
He's not underground, he lives in San Francisco.
Well, he's the new thing, doesn't he? But he's got a new e-bike company and it's all brimming with the latest potential tech.
Adam, just kind of just put the brakes on them. The lightest, highest power e-bike. I mean, I've never heard that before.
Yeah, it feels like it's Groundhog Day, but there's some cool things. So it's called Morello.
Is that like the mushrooms? Morel, isn't that? Sorry.
Yeah, close, but not quite. So it's, started in February 2023, but there's not a huge amount out there. We saw a talk from him at Leargang, the wild and wonderful person that he is.
Old Gazzo's a Eurobike as well, isn't he? With his cowboy hat and his glasses.
Yeah. Spot him out from a mile away for sure. But, he's partnered...
He wasn't smoking, by the way.
Sorry. No, not indoors, it's illegal there. So he's partnered with a couple of guys, which is quite interesting, from a company called Iron Blocks. Now, quote from him first of all, is battery tech from the electric takeoff and landing vehicles, they do big ass ones. That's a direct quote from Mr. Fisher himself.
You seen the new Top Gun film?
Yeah.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. But according to Iron Blocks, they use a proprietary silicon anode in the battery instead of a commonly used anode material such as graphite. But it's all good and well talking about tech.
You've lost me there. Can we move on to the next thing?
Yeah.
Can we move on to the New Zealand brand Smart Motion with this very cool bike. We saw them at Eurobike Hall 9, actually. High Liar to the crew and all the crew. Comes in small and medium, £10,000, a mixed wheel size, 360, 540 and 720 watt-hour batteries. Look, these are just pictures, right, folks? But it really did catch your eye, didn't it?
Yeah.
At the show.
Especially in Hall 9, where there's a very wide variety of different things.
Do you know what? We're going to bring you a Hall 9 video in the upcoming weeks. It's a pretty wild place, crazy place.
Best.
So it seems you guys have been taking things to the next level in terms of cool...
Oh, Steve.
So it seems you guys have been taking things to the next level with the places that you've been going, especially looking at this week's submissions. Brandon, Trek Powerfly, Lomond Hills.
Beautiful. I mean, I don't know. Have you touched up that photo? It's really green.
But look at this, Adam. Greg out in Spence Mountain Trail System in Klamath Falls, Oregon.
Look at it. If you look at the background.
Oregon is that the Hood River in the background or not? It's a hell of a place.
No, Klamath Lake.
And then we've got Trulls out in northern Norway.
Are you a photographer? This is a very, very, very clean shot.
Me and my buddy are landscape photographers.
There you
go. We had an epic ride up to photograph our beautiful island.
I feel that's cheating, no?
The author here is Trulls. Trulls. I mean, showing how it's done, the fine detail there, keeping the handlebar under the horizon. Nick, can I have a look at this photograph, dude?
Yeah. It's special. It's special.
Look at that, Nick. Look at that. Yeah, look, Nicky.
Wow.
Did you reckon, Nicky boy?
Oh, yeah. Doesn't it? I think I just clicked.
We've got accreditation from our finest in-house photographer here,
He
Nicky
is.
Boy behind the camera. Nicky Boy!
Nicky Boy!
Gonna say, folks, big thanks to Nick for all the hard work he did out at Eurobike. Nick works late into the night to bring you the latest and greatest from all these shows. So big thanks to him.
So we're all ears when it comes to listening to you guys. So you've been firing away comments and questions and feedback. So, this is now the part of the show where we can answer some of the questions from our previous videos. So the first question is regarding the Bosch SX motor for you, Steve. So
Vovan CBR.
yeah, what is the total weight of this bike comparing to an all-Bayer Rise EPA RS 60 Newton meter, 300 watt-hour battery, and a weight of 18 kilos? Is it comparable?
The thing is, we saw, how many bikes did we see the SX motor? 50?
I
At
would have
least
said yeah.
100. The thing is, we saw bikes with the SX motor ranging from the KTM 130mm 140, which was 15.2 kilos.
Yeah.
It all depends on the motor. We even saw the aluminium Nikolai Swift, things called the Swift.
Yeah.
Beautiful bike, probably highlight for me of the show.
And the Ducati as well, which
yeah,
had the 3D printed frame.
But going back to the Nikolai bike, that was around about 18 kilos. It's a full aluminium bike, hard-hitting bike, good componentry. I think what you need to bear in mind, Vovan, is it's all well and good having a lightweight EMTB, but if they haven't got the components on the bike to suit the type of riding you do, then it's pointless having it. So, I think the SX motor bikes range from 15 to 20 kilos, I think, on a whole, right?
Yeah, I reckon the one we rode was probably about 18 or 19 kilos.
Yeah, and that was a Bulls bike. Obviously, Bulls have got, as we pointed out at the Eurobike show, you can have a Bulls SX bike which starts at €5,900, which weighs in at about kind of 19 kilos, and you get a top-end bike which is €10,000 and weighs in probably a kilo less. And you're going to pay €5,000 for that difference. I don't know. It's some people will, some people won't.
It's up to the weight weenies, right? But moving away from the Bosch SX motor, we're going to go into some of the Eurobike questions you guys had, and there is a huge amount to choose from. So, Alien Brain 7513. The first bike I see with the design I like, gas. Why didn't you show more? Steve, why didn't we show more?
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We kind of did. We already have shown the gas bike quite a few times with what a lot of people are saying is the new SRAM motor. It's fantastic results. Alex Marin got second at the E-Enduro World Cup at Val d'Ifasta on the weekend. So we know its capability. We know there's new stuff coming from gas. Guys, just give us a month or so and we'll update you.
Arguably as well, there was only one there, right?
There was. And then Scott Molinari says, why is the Crossworks bike so full of rust?
Whoa. It's not rust. It's dust.
I've been riding it.
But you got me on that one.
Well, I have.
It's dust. It's dust, not rust. It's the only one, as far as I'm aware.
I like
so
that.
it had to be showed that it could be ridden in the conditions to prove the belt drive. It was actually on the Gates Carbon belt drive stand.
Industry rust. All right, so we've seen lots of new advances in EMTBs over the past few weeks. This week's question to you, beautiful people, is what new product or advance in EMTB tech has made you buy a new bike?
Or will do.
Whether it be in the future, presently, or in the past.
Swing open the doors of the bike vault again for this week's EMBN show. You guys have been sending in some beautiful bikes, and first and foremost is Joe, nice easy one, but with a cool bike that we've seen quite a few times is the Rotwild RE375. Is that the right numbers? You get it right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I haven't seen it in blue before, Adam.
Is it blue? I mean, that's
Well, it
quite a
looks
special
blue
looking
to me.
bike. Yeah.
Normally the Rotwilds are in red, right? Red and grey. But
yeah. Is that?
Well, Joe's been up very early in the morning. Full face helmet. Not seen that before on the bike vault.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well,
I
it's
think that's
a bike park.
I think that is a nice shot.
A nice, not a super nice.
Next up, what have we got next?
We have Rob with his Levo Pro, specialised in sunny Cornwall. It's beautiful. Feels like it's outside of the UK, so that's a winner in my books. That is.
What are you going to give it?
A super nice.
And what definitely is outside the UK is Jake's Uno Myth in Younger's Hook, Stellenbosch, South Africa. Crikey, Well,
It's muddy.
Jake, it wasn't like that when I was in Stellenbosch last. It was baking hot. I actually went in to launch the Levo SL in 2020, had COVID.
Could have given it a clean.
Big fan of Uno. Cesar Rojo and his team, they make some beautiful bikes, and there's no way that we can give it anything other than a super nice. Folks, thanks so much for sending your bike vault shots in. We'll update with a few more in next week's show. But for now, super nice.
We love a good chat. We love a bit of socialising, don't we, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
So this week's Getting Social, we've got some of the trickiest skills. So first and foremost is Pat Smudge. Now, this guy is a bit of a wizard. He is riding his Ibis Osso. It's just impeccable.
Smudge or Smage?
Smudge. I'll put Smudge. It's my British accent.
Wilder or Walder?
Valder.
Carry on.
So yeah, he's given E-Krig a run for his money, I reckon. Some wonderful stoppies and just making it look seamless.
He does, yeah. Meanwhile, on the old switchbacks of Innsbruck, Tom Ola and his high bike like CF11. I mean, getting around switchbacks, this guy's a genius. It is literally a switchback masterclass.
He can't turn right, so he has to do a full 180 to turn left.
And then finally, Thomas Lapeyrie.
Yeah.
Lapeyrie.
Lapeyrie, not Lapierre.
On Focus Jam 6.9 on a cliff. I mean, it is a cliff. Terrifying.
Maybe the GoPro makes it look worse, but a lot of hiker biking.
Absolutely terrifying. And that's it from this week's show. Thanks for joining us. Please let us know your thoughts on not only the new kind of Bosch SX. Is it midweight? Is it low weight? Is it full power? The Pinion MGU. Very excited. We are very excited to get out in the mountains on that bike. And that's it for this week's EMBN. And that's it for this week's EMBN show. Please let us know your thoughts on the new Pinion MGU drive. We're super excited to get on the mountains on that bike. And also, what do you think about that new Vitus, which we showed you a few days ago? See you next week.
Shut up.